Hello and welcome to Trust Television. The program you're watching now is Business Daily, where we'll bring you all the updates in the world of business and the economy. Of course, not just in Nigeria, other parts of the world are inclusive. I am Christiana Amoduoti and I'm your host on the program. Thank you for always taking time to join us on the program. First, we'll give you the headlines. Amazon Group is increasing its commitment to Africa as it opens its first Lagos office. And also, Customs says that the vehicle identification number reduces false information on imported goods. We'll give you more on this in the Business Roundup segment of the program. I'll take a short breather. When I come back, we'll tell you that the bears are still having a grip on the local exchange, talking about Customs Street in Nigeria. Please stay. Welcome back. Now let's get straight into updates from the stock market. We begin from the Nigeria exchange. Now the bears continue to dominate trade in the local bourse as the NGX benchmark index declined by 0.21%. Sell pressures persist on the Nigerian exchange, and these sell pressures are in Boa Food, Seplat Energy, Stanbic IBTC, and we're still seeing that having impact on the market in Nigeria. Now the all-share index settled at 43,745.73. Now on activity levels, as you can see now, a total volume of 172.87 million shares valued at 4.01 billion naira changed hands in 4,110 deals on the floor of the Nigeria exchange market. The market capitalization settled at 23.83 trillion naira. So we are still seeing a lot of bearish activity on the Nigeria stock market. Sell pressures are persistent. Analysts have said they are expecting the bargain hunting activities will come in and we'll see the market enter into the green zone, talking about entering into bullish zone. Now let's go over to other African bourses that will bring updates to you from on the program. Now this is the JSE, the Johannesburg Stock Exchange in South Africa. That is in fact Africa's largest exchange, up 0.22%, opening largely higher at 67,560. In Ghana, we are seeing the Ghana Stock Exchange staying largely unchanged, 2,461. Now, there was a lot of focus, especially on Ghana. We saw President Nana Akufo-Addo of Ghana giving a presidential address with regards to what's happening with the Ghanaian economy. The president also said in his words that the economy of Ghana is in a crisis, and he is not exaggerating the matter. He gave factors that are responsible and also gave measures that the Ghanaian economic managers, those at the helm of affairs in Ghana, want to put in place to ensure that they address the situation facing Ghana's economy. They have inflation that is high over 35%, a currency that is falling, talking about the Ghanaian cedi, and issues around debt service payments. In his address, the president of Ghana did talk about the issue of going to the IMF to get a $3 billion credit from the IMF, and the president also added that will not bring about haircuts, and Ghanaians shouldn't go into panic mode. Basically, the economic managers of Ghana are trying to see how they can bring the economy in that country out of murky waters and bring it back to a part of prosperity, a part of growth. So it's kind of a SWOT approach that the Ghanaian government is looking at to bring things back to par for that country. We are having issues around cuts in public expenditure also will come into place, according to the presidential address that was made by the president of Ghana in terms of rescuing the Ghanaian economy. Let's go over to Wall Street and see what's happening in the United States. Now, stock futures were higher as investors brace for the Federal Reserve's latest policy decision. Now we are seeing the market pricing in on the policy decision expected from the Jerome Powell-led team of the Fed. Now we are seeing the Dow Jones Industrial Average climb marginally there, 0.01%. The U.S. market is expected to open. Now this is futures trading. We are seeing pre-market trading is expected to open at about 2 p.m. 2:30 p.m. Nigerian time. The S&P 500 also up 0.02% there, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq Composite is up 0.13% at 11,302.94. So all eyes now are focused on the U.S. Fed this week. It has been said that the U.S. Fed is expected to hike rates by 75 basis points. The U.S. Federal Reserve has stayed largely hawkish to rein in inflation. Now, the world suffered from the pangs of the Hydra-headed COVID-19 pandemic, and then the issue around the war also came in. So a lot of economies, global economies, are trying to see how stability returns back to these economies, and that's what we're seeing the U.S. Fed and central bankers around the world trying to do by hiking rates to help curtail inflation. And that's really within the purview of central banks to ensure that inflation comes down, and that's what is expected from the US Fed. So largely investors globally are focusing on the key policy decision from the Fed. Now, we have seen the interest rate is supposed to go up by 3/4 of a point, and is the 4th hike in a row for that side. However, investors are also looking for a signal that the central bank is prepared to slow the pace of the rate hiking that we have seen happen in recent time. Let's go over to European markets and see what's happening in the Eurozone. Now, we're still seeing the markets in this area staying largely positive. The FTSE 100 in the UK is up 1.29%. The CAC in France up 0.57%, and the DAX is up 0.64%. Recall, in Europe, there's a whole lot of issues around what's happening with cost of living. We're seeing the United Kingdom, we're seeing what's happening in France. We've seen protests happening in France, talking about focus on the CAC 40, the CAC in France. And the UK, of course, have a new Prime Minister. Rishi Sunak has come on board, and he's expected to bring about a change in the face of the UK economy. We know what the chaotic situation, as some have described it, that has happened with the issues around what's happening in the United Kingdom. Now, let's go over to the Asia Pacific markets and see what's happening there. Now, the Nikkei 225 in Japan is down 0.06% at 27,663.39. The Shanghai Composite in mainland China climbed 1.15%. And for the Kospi in South Korea, we are seeing a surge of 0.07% there at 2,336.87. Going over to the commodities market now, let's take a look at that chart. I find the commodities market chart always very interesting to look at. Now, we begin from the international benchmark of crude oil, talking about Brent crude, $95.32 per barrel, up 0.73%. Wondering what's propping the price now. Industry data showed a surprise drop in U.S. crude stockpiles, suggesting demand is holding up despite steep interest rate hikes dampening global growth. Issues around the COVID policy in China is also being watched closely by those that play in the oil market. For the bullion, talking about the yellow metal gold, is up 0.25% there at $1,651.55 per ounce. Now, gold is highly sensitive to rising U.S. interest rate, as that increase the opportunity cost of holding the non-yielding metal and boosts the dollar. There's an inverse relationship, however, between the dollar and the price of the bullion we see in the market. Come down the chart now. Cocoa is up 0.56% at $2,348 per ton. Wheat is doing $892, and palm oil is also staying very tall at the $4,000 mark. They're $4,395. So the agri commodities are always trading in the thousands, except for wheat doing around 800, and we have the Brent crude trading for $95.32. Definitely not Uhuru yet for Nigeria, as there's still so much to be done, especially in terms of talking about economic diversification in the Nigerian economy. Going to crypto watch now. What's happening with cryptocurrencies? Bitcoin still staying at the $20,000 mark, $20,403, losing steam there, 0.45%. Ethereum, $1,560, down 0.98%, and the Binance coin, $321, down 1.02%. So this market, a lot of watchers are looking at what these coins or these cryptocurrencies will end largely for the year. Now, we are hearing that some retail outlets, big retail outlets in South Africa are accepting payments in cryptocurrency. What does that mean now for the future of currencies? Those are the numbers we have for you on the program today. We'll take a short break, and this break would be the business roundup segment, basically to give you updates on major news in the world of business.
Amazon Web Services Inc. (AWS) has announced the opening of its first office in Lagos, Nigeria. The new Lagos office is part of AWS's support for the growing number of customers and partners in Nigeria. The office, which is a subsidiary of Amazon.com Incorporated, will support organizations of all sizes, including startups, enterprises, and public sector agencies as they make the transition to AWS Cloud. The company said it will support new and existing customers looking to use AWS products and services to innovate, lower their information technology IT costs, and grow their organizations in the cloud. The Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Professor Isa Ali Ibrahim, welcomed the opening of the new AWS office in Lagos. The Nigerian Customs Service, NCS, says the Vehicle Identification Number (VIN) valuation system has recorded huge success since its introduction. Timi Bomodi, National Public Relations Officer of the service, said this in an interview with newsmen in Abuja on Tuesday. Bomodi, who is also a Deputy Comptroller, said the system had been able to drastically reduce false information on imported vehicles. He said with the system currently in place, full information about a vehicle gets revealed once entered into the system. The customs spokesperson said the process had made it possible for the service to get appropriate duties for imported vehicles. The Vehicle Identification Number (VIN) valuation policy was introduced in February for allocation of automated standard values to all vehicles being imported. The automated scanning system was introduced to check corrupt practices and ensure trade facilitation, among others.
There you have it for the business roundup. Now let's go straight into the focus of the program today. Now the focus will be on taxation. It is normally said that there are two things we cannot escape in life. That's death and the taxman, or taxes as the case may be. So we are focusing on taxation on the program today. There's been a lot of conversation around how the tax bracket in Nigeria needs to be widened, how more people need to be incorporated into the tax bracket, issues around tax compliance in the country. And some experts have posited that there is a direct nexus between the state of infrastructure and the fact that tax compliance in the country is undermined. How can that be resolved? My guest on the program today is Dr. Kennedy Iwundu. He is the chairman, Chartered Institute of Taxation, Abuja chapter, and he's joining me to talk about the conversations in tax matters arising. There's also the Finance Act. How do we expect that straight to be looked at? Talking about revenue generation for the country, and taxation also is a good end to generate revenue. Dr. Kennedy, I want to get your thoughts. Now, over the years, the issue of tax compliance has always come forth to the table. It has even been put in front burner position. How is Nigeria faring? Have we done better than where we were, considering the fact that we are wrapping up the year 2022?
Yeah, thank you for having me. I would say Nigeria has done better because of some solutions introduced by the Federal Revenue Service. There have been some form of automations and digitalization going on. Right now, you can file your returns online, make tax payment online. You don't need to physically submit your detailed reports to the Federal Revenue Service. You have to file online. You can also apply for your tax clearance certificate online and also obtain it online. The era of getting tax clearance certificate on a paper is gone. So there's this sort of improvement. Yeah. And also there are also other form of improvement in terms of revenue generation. I think FRS have generated more revenue this year than last year as a result of this digitalization process. Taxing non-resident companies like big giants like Facebook, Amazon, Google. Now they have to pay VAT in Nigeria from the money they are making in Nigeria. I think there's still some form of improvement so far.
Okay, thank you for that digitization. I like that. That really plays a huge role, making the process seamless, especially for small and medium enterprises in the country. I'll hold my fire here and we'll take a short break. When we return, the conversation will continue properly. We'll go into the meat of the matter. Please stay.
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back, and thank you for still staying there with us on the program. Now, I still have my guest with me here in the studio. He is Dr. Kennedy Iwundu, the chairman, Chartered Institute of Taxation, Abuja chapter. Now, we're discussing issues around taxes, basically generating more revenue. And just before we went on that great break, Dr. Kennedy, you spoke about how the process, the whole system has been digitalized and how that has really helped the process of tax compliance and generation of revenue through taxes. Now, I am aware that you interface with a lot of individuals, firms, businesses, business owners, so to speak. I want to get first-hand information from you. What is the reason that comes forth when issues around, when people are asked, why do you not pay taxes?
Yeah, one of the things people complain about is lack of government accountability and transparency. People believe that government of the day has not been accountable and transparent in the application of the common funds of the people. That is that. Then another one is the inability of government to put our infrastructures in a proper place. See, today we are still having problem of light, uninterrupted power supply. We are still not there. We are still having problem of insecurity. We are still having the problem of lack of potable water for the citizens. Our roads are bad. So people are saying, why should they pay tax when government is not ready to fix all these things? However, some of us will also encourage people to pay their taxes.
Yes.
Because when you pay your taxes, at least you stand that opportunity to criticize the government. And in some places, if you don't pay your tax, you may not have that moral rectitude to criticize the government. But when you pay your tax, you have that. They say, pay your tax first and now complain. You have a lot of people in the country not paying tax. And that's as a result of lack of government accountability and transparency, and also as a result of inability of government to bring in some institutional framework that will compel them to pay tax. So because we believe that government still have not bring some institutional framework that will make people to pay tax. And when this institutional framework is being put in place, definitely people will voluntarily pay their tax. And I believe then they can ask government what the government is doing with their money.
Okay, now still in line with this conversation, we went to speak to Nigerians to really hear their opinion on the issue of taxation. Take a listen to what they had to say.
I do pay my taxes. And the thing about tax in Nigeria, number one, we are being overtaxed. For example, the compliance with the government, if you want to pay tax to the government, number one, you pay tax. Number two, they tell you ITF. Number three, they tell you NSITF. Number four, they tell you all manner, one company. If you want to do business with government, 5, 6 registrations. Each of these things, money pats your hand. Tax is good. There are countries that don't have mineral resources. All they get is tax, and people pay. And people love to pay in those countries. The difference with our country is just one. You pay the tax in the name of paying tax to the government, but you pay the tax into the pocket of the politicians. If tax were judiciously used in Nigeria, everybody would like to pay tax. If I pay tax and I have light, I pay tax, I have security. I pay tax, I have water. I pay tax, I have gas. I pay tax, I have good roads. Who would not like to pay? Look at it with me. People evade tax in Nigeria and they pay tax outside Nigeria faithfully. Why? I know over there, the man there is not stealing the money. The man there is using the money. I will benefit. It's a contribution to the general patrimony.
Well, as a Nigerian, I do pay my tax as admin due because as a banker, it's been deducted from my salary on a monthly basis. So I don't owe government any tax payment as per delay or, lacking in doing so. paid my dues to the government as far as I'm concerned. Well, talking about tax payment, it is an obligation that as a citizen you have to do that. But in most cases, discover that government have done nothing with it. Because if you look at our routes, no maintenance. If you apply the route from Omwa here to Kotamane Road, nothing has been done. One will comfortably say that nothing has been done in view of the huge payment of taxes and government collect from that area. And same is applicable to other geographical zones as well. Invariably, government have not done much in utilizing the payment of our taxes.
Actually, I can't say I'm paying the tax, but indirectly I'm paying. And I pay multiple tax. There's multiple taxation in Nigeria. For instance, you make payment to the bank will charge you. They will charge the creditor and the receiver and the person who paid. And also, when you buy something in the, for instance, ShopRite, the add tax there, then the transportation bring it to the place, you also pay. So there are multiple taxation, and there's no dividend on the tax we are paying. In some clients that when you pay tax, you'll be happy. You have some incentive given to you. Even when you don't want to pay, you willingly pay because you see the returns. For instance, the tax we are paying, we have bad roads in Nigeria. There's no electricity, there's no good school. There's things that will motivate you. It's like we are being pushed to pay tax in Nigeria.
Now, Dr. Kennedy, you've heard the respondents there talking about multiple taxation, over taxation, as one of the respondents put it there now. And the issue around multiple taxation, the complaints did not just start now. Even before now, we have heard a lot of, especially business owners. You heard that respondent speaking about how he needs to pay so and so at different levels. How can this be addressed?
Sometimes taxes are different from levies. Some of the things they complain might even be levies, not probably tax. Although we have said that a company has to pay company income tax, a company has to pay education tax for those that have turnover that is more than 25 million.
Yes.
If you're a company, you have a turnover of 25 million and below, you have no tax to pay.
Yes.
But if you're a company, you have more than 25 million turnover, you have to pay company income tax, you have to pay education tax and all that. Other things, PENCOM, ITF, NSITF, you can classify them as other government statutory payments or they're not really tax per se. However, they are making a point by saying that if after paying all these things that our country is nice in terms of providing us the good infrastructure we need, people will pay more. In abroad, certain services are free. You go to school, they are free. At that level, you get to the hospitals, you see government doing a lot of things. So people are willing to pay. You dial 911. I also want to say something. Nigerians will not only complain about government officials mishandling or misappropriating taxpayers. It's an opportunity now for Nigerians to vote the right people into power. Nigerians have the power now to vote the right people. If you vote the right people, I'm sure they're going to use our tax to our maximum advantage and benefit. But if we continue to vote in the wrong people, we will complain and complain forever. So I will use this opportunity to urge Nigerians, we are about going to election.
Yes.
Let's vote in the right people, and I'm sure those right people will use our tax money for our benefit.
Okay. Now, I like the fact that you created a dichotomy between taxes and levies, and that's quite educative, that you need to understand that this is the tax you're paying, and this is a levy, a statutory levy you're required to pay. Now, the FIRS recently said it's going to start taxing gaming companies, in the online gaming companies in the country, in a bid, of course, to generate more revenue and also bring more people into the tax bracket. What's your reaction to this development?
It is right that FIRS do that. It's not only in Nigeria that that's been done. It's been done in other countries, because in the gaming industry, a lot of money is being generated. People bid and they gain, they win lotteries and all that. Even those who own the gaming company, they make money. people will fix the money, they will lose. Are they not making money? They're making money. So they should pay tax on the money they're making. And even the winners, when you win, you put in 1 million and you won 10 million. You have made an income.
Yes.
Such income is not exempted. You're supposed to pay tax on it. So FIRS is right. If they put in the right infrastructure, the right mechanism, they can generate money from that. And it's not only done in Nigeria, it's also done in other parts of the world.
Okay, finally, now Nigeria's tax to GDP ratio is still very low. I think within the bracket of 6% to 8%, thereabout. We have counterparts doing between 15% to 25%. As we wrap up the program, I just want you in 1 minute to tell me what are your expectations as we go into a new year, a new probably administration, so to speak. What are your expectations?
My expectation is that those who are contesting for election, especially the presidential candidates, should come up with their tax agenda. And that tax agenda should be how to move our tax to GDP ratio from 8% to at least 15%. According to OECD, 15% is an average. Some countries have 30-something%, 20-something%, but Nigeria was still between 6 to 8%. And the reason is that there's so many tax not being collected. Like Nigeria has capital gain tax. In Nigeria, both in Abuja, Lagos, all over, people are buying and selling properties. Nobody is paying capital gain tax. Capital gain tax is a gold mine. It's a gold mine. People are not paying capital gain tax. And also, we should facilitate the digital collection of tax revenue. You pay to hotel, you pay to eatery, automatically is remitted to the government, not keeping it by the owners. And at the end of the month, they decide to find government what they want to find government. So by the time we increase the digital collection of taxes and look at capital gain tax, untapped tax, I'm sure we're going to move on from that 8% to
15%. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Kennedy Iwundu, Chairman CITN Abuja chapter. Thank you for coming on the program to share your thoughts.
Thank you for having me.
And that's where we call it a wrap for the program today. Now, according to Albert Bushnell Hart, taxation is the price which civilized communities pay for the opportunity of remaining civilized. Now, it is important to pay our taxes. But then again, if we're local governments unto ourselves, how much more can we do? But Nigerians, just as Dr. Kennedy said, we're all urged to do the right thing. Don't cut corners for the economy to get better. I am your host, Christiana Amodu Otinya. Thank you for always investing your time with us on the program. Don't forget to catch up everything you need to know on our social media platforms on news, making the quality and updating the world of business. Enjoy the rest of your day and bye for now.